Hey, listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Discord, we got Josh.
Hey.
I want to start off SmackDown. Quite a few things happening, but specifically that main event, the Tag Team Championships on the line, TLC, Street Profits, DIY, Motor City, Machine Guns, tearing the house down.
Yes. And for the record, if that had been on WrestleMania, it would have been half the length of the time and nowhere near as good. So be glad it was on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think it's a toss up, right? Obviously, you got the profile of being a WrestleMania match, and then you've got, as you say, the time because I believe it was commercial free as well. Um, there was shots to do things around the place, but then you look at what the Raw Tag Team Championship match at WrestleMania was, and then all of a sudden you're kind of happy you got what you got, if that makes some sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's a 15, 20, 30, I think it was nearly 25 minutes long match, which would have been probably 10 at best had it happened on either night of WrestleMania. It was phenomenal. 6 guys that can go. They all went, and they all knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I think the big question, like as you say, bell to bell, amazing. My question coming out of it is just where are we heading? Obviously, we do have quite a few tag teams on SmackDown, and we have quite a few, intermingling feuds. That's how we got our triple threat. We thought potentially it was going to be a 4 or 5-way tag team match, and we've just had Fraxium move up to SmackDown as well. So it seems like that SmackDown tag division is pretty healthy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely a lot of options, and adding Fraxium, as you mentioned, adds in another wrinkle and gives us another team that we can use. Um, yeah. So let's see what they do. But as of right now, it's a very healthy division for right now.
Yeah, so Fraxium earlier in the night officially being called on up after losing their tag team championships on NXT. They got a match against Los Garza. Also, banger match. SmackDown was kind of a show for the tag teams and showed what they could do. We obviously had Axiom's showcase match with Gunther, and they continue to tear the house down and show why they're a great tag team. They had friction. We thought maybe they were going to do a split up, and not on NXT they weren't. They made it to the main roster in one piece. Well, also on SmackDown, there is so much to talk about from this episode. Let's go with Aleister Black. He has returned as kind of expected based on the promos or the vignettes that we got, and just kicks the Miz's head off.
Yeah. It's interesting to see if the Miz is obviously one guy that you can definitely put in a ring and get the other guy over. So if the match happens next week, it'll happen then. Um, if it happens at Backlash, it'll happen up there. But Miz is easily somebody you can throw in, have a good match with, and not even have to worry about them winning the match because you know the Miz is willing to do business.
And where I worry, just based on the Miz's position on the card right now, is that he is working quite heavily with Carmelo Hayes. He's trying to build up that friendship, Mello don't Miz and all that. And I feel like eventually we're going to get Aleister Black, Carmelo Hayes. We thought maybe Hayes was going to get a bit of a boost after winning the Battle Royal, getting that showcase. Aleister Black making the return. I know. Aleister Black making the return. If those two go head to head, I think anything that Hayes was gonna build might just be cut off at the knees.
Honestly, I don't see them facing off. I think it will just be Miz versus Black. Black wins. Black goes on to do other things. Miz continues to try to work to get Mello on board, probably fails and gets his head kicked in again by Carmelo and maybe a trick shot.
Yeah, this is the season for NXT call-ups. Obviously, Fraxium on SmackDown, a couple on Raw that I don't think are 100% locked in yet, but we are seeing featured week in and week out. We've been saying Trick Williams has done everything he can do in NXT. Is it time? Will we see him in the next few weeks?
Possibly. But I think we have to deal with have to pass by with TNA's world champion first.
Mhm.
I think once we deal with whatever it is they have, then we might see him on the main roster. But we could also see them doing the unlikely.
Not the
And
unlikely.
yeah, Trick Williams, TNA champion.
Yeah? You call it the unlikely. I call it the entirely possible.
I call it
Um,
unlikely because it has in this entire crossover thing and promotional thing, nobody has won a title from the other side.
that's true.
So that's why I call it the unlikely.
Yeah,
And it
it's
will be
something.
remain unlikely until it happens.
It is something that I think we called for a couple of times, that you definitely could have done. It does seem like, most of the time, if we're on NXT, it's the NXT star winning. If we're on TNA, it's the TNA star winning. There are exceptions, like when the TNA titles are defended on NXT, then the TNA champion retains. And so I'd be excited to see a NXT star winning a TNA title. I would be just as excited to see a TNA star win an NXT title. Um, I don't know how long it would be for in terms of the reign length, especially if Trick Williams is headed up to the main roster. Maybe he can do a 1 month, 2 month kind of stint with TNA. Or, classic Al, just win it and then lose it in the next couple of weeks back to the guy you took it off. Who knows? But we'll have to see where Trick Williams' path leads him. And then also on SmackDown, someone whose path we do know where it's leading them is Zelina Vega, and it is leading her directly into a Women's United States Championship reign.
Yeah, that was a little surprising. Uh, I love Chelsea Green. I love the work she's done with the title. Um, the character's amazing. Um, but I'm fine with it. I'm fine with them elevating Selena because honestly, did you really see her winning a world title this year?
Yeah.
I didn't. But this is a good
No.
step to making that as a possibility towards the end of the year. Is giving her a good run with this title. And I will definitely say this: the United States title is infinitely a better position than the women's intercontinental title.
Yeah, I think these mid card titles, especially coming along at the same time, were always gonna get directly compared one to the other. And when you look at what you got, you had one, which is they did what we asked. They put a heel as champion and then had somebody chase. And then on the other side, you've just had Lyra sort of hold on to the title. You had Dakota Kai challenge and fail a couple times in a row. They hadn't really got any traction. They do appear to be getting some now with the Becky Lynch feud, but I'll get to that in a second. In terms of this US title, yeah, I think this should be a great stepping stone. We saw Zelina Vega go for the Women's World Championship level belts a few times, and you never really had a whole lot of faith that she was gonna win the big one. But I do have faith that she could win the mid card. Same as Dakota Kai. I would never expect her to come out on top if she went for a Women's Championship or a World Women's Championship. But I could see them picking up the mid cards, and as you say, with even on the men's side of things, a good mid card run can always position you ready to go higher up if you show what you can do with that championship, and it gives you that chance to showcase yourself. You should be being presented on TV for most weeks, and it gives you a spot, which is kind of hard when you've only got so many hours of the show. But yes,
Yeah.
let's. Oh, you go.
Yeah, I was just agreeing with you.
uh, I'll play Zelina's song now. I know it's a little early, but we'll go into the song just because we talked about Zelina. But when we come back, I will talk Women's Intercontinental Championship, what's happening with Lyra, what's happening with Becky. But first, Zelina Vega's theme. And you're listening up on FreeFM, ArrowFM, and MPR. I'm Grady, he's Josh. United States Championship, Intercontinental Women's Championship. You did say the US title is a bit more interesting. Well, we do have this cluster with Lyra and Becky winning the tag titles and dropping the tag titles and then beating each other up, and it's all over the place, and it's been so far is Lynch beating on Lyra, really making the pecking order known between the two of them. I can't see a way. I know Lyra defeated Becky for the NXT Women's Championship, obviously, but I feel like Becky's just going to steamroll and take the title here.
I agree. I think I've said it multiple times. I've not liked Lyra as champion, and maybe what needs to happen is her to lose to Becky, get back in the line, and in a few months, maybe regain the title from Becky after Becky has made it a bigger thing. Because I assume after she wins it from Lyra, I assume Bayley will return, and we'll have a feud between Bayley and Becky over that title.
Yeah, they definitely set it up straight away, right? They didn't leave any open hanging who attacked Bayley kind of storyline like we did with Jade when she went off. It was just straight up, nope, it was me. And I think you're right, it's just laying down that groundwork. Becky takes the title off Lyra at Backlash, and then the next one along, it'll be Becky versus Bayley. And it's sort of a different path, right? You look at the Intercontinental, I'm mixing them up so badly. You look at the US title, and it was sort of mid-card woman carrying it, trying to build this foundation. Chelsea, Mia Yim, and now Zelina Vega. You look over on Raw, and it's potentially Becky Lynch grabbing the title and feuding with Bayley over it. They've taken sort of that top echelon, top 5 kind of woman, and then brought them down to that title to try and raise the prestige of it, I guess. And I think we gotta see which tactic works. We've seen it before where like John Cena wins a mid-card title, raises the prestige of it, and then 6 months later it's kind of back where it was. Sometimes it just takes one good run, sometimes it just takes one bad run.
Yeah. I mean, it took the feud that Dolph Ziggler and The Miz had, and one very angry promo to bring the Intercontinental title out of its dormant state.
Yeah.
So it's possible that this could work. I mean, this is a brand new title. It would only be the second champion if Becky does win it. She would only be the second champion. So you are every day it builds on the lineage and stuff. So we'll have to see. But having a person of the level of Becky as a early champion, I don't think will hurt it that badly.
No,
but
I think
it's
it would be
a question
pretty
of
hard
whether
to
it will
hurt
help. It's definitely the question of whether it will help it, but I don't think it'll hurt it.
100%. The only thing that I could see it potentially is if we just end up locking it into those same upper echelon women who do already go for that world title level stuff, and then the whole point of it, to give the woman who may be lower down on the card a spot, or to give them something to challenge for, goes away, because now you look at, like a Dakota Kai, Becky Lynch, Kai's not winning, and Ivy Nile, Becky Lynch, Ivy Nile isn't winning. And all of a sudden you're back to your position where now you've just got two world title level champions, who none of the sort of smaller fish could get a look in on. But it does give you a chance, I guess, to do sort of an upset storyline where maybe one of them does get a lucky win, and does manage to get the prestige of taking it off of Becky. But I'll have to see, as you say, early days for the championship. And then staying on that Raw Women's division, it is, if you look at the World Championship, which we were just talking about quite a few times, Sky, Rhea Ripley still floating around, Roxanne Perez featured again on Raw this week, Giulia as well coming to back her up, and then later on in the show, Stephanie Vacure also up on Raw. Don't know which of these is going to get officially, a call up, whether people are just having a bit of a showcase. What's happening? Is that NXT Women's title going to shuffle around? But right now, that Raw Women's division looking pretty darn stacked, especially at the top.
Yeah, it is interesting. I do think Io versus Rhea, I think, will happen at Backlash to kind of tie the bow on that story. And then, but it is interesting that they are having all these showcase matches from the top 3 ladies that we have said these are the people that are definitely the future of the company that are in NXT right now.
Mm-hmm.
I still think, while I think Stephanie has like everything you need, I'm not sure they're ready to bring her up, but they are showcasing her.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, but that would mean that she would probably, if they are bringing her up, that means whoever her opponent is next would be the one that would take the title from her, which could, which we thought might be Giulia, but Giulia's been in these showcase matches.
Yeah. I
So
guess the only thing that I can sort of differentiate is that like Perez and Giulia are kind of in a feud. Like they are injecting themselves into that Women's World Championship position versus Stephanie, who has just had, a banger showcase with Sky and then another banger showcase with Ivy Nile. There hasn't really been like a feud or something we're trying to build out of it. So maybe it is just giving her reps up here. But Roxanne, well overdue for a call up, and Giulia appears to be bundled with her for whatever reason on this.
I mean, even on NXT this week, it was Roxanne Perez and Giulia versus Io Sky and Jordan Grace. Maybe that's the piece of the puzzle that we're overlooking. And it's Jordan Grace that wins the title off of Stephanie, and that's what allows her to spin off.
Yeah, I think it's insane. Like we always say the NXT Women's division is stacked, and the talent coming into it is always crazy. And recently, it has been, the Julias, the Stephanies, the Jordans, who do already have a whole lot of talent and a whole lot of experience coming in. And they probably don't need a whole lot of time to get shined up and moved to the main roster. And if all 3 of them end up landing on Raw, which is, from quick looking at it, one of the more stacked women's divisions versus looking over at SmackDown, then there's going to be a whole lot of like shuffling around, because there's just going to be so much good talent trying to find spots and trying to find feuds, and not a lot of time for it, especially when you're fighting the Rheas, the Beckys, the Baileys, the Skies. There's just so much going on in that in WWE's women's division across all 3 brands, really. But if you're taking the best of NXT and then moving it up onto Raw, even more stacked.
Yeah, and that's where the Intercontinental title could come into play too, because it gives you more people that can go after that, and it could give you several people that you could have a Becky face off against, that you could think this person could beat her, this person could. hey, that person beat her. That person's a bigger star now.
Yeah, whereas, if I turn my attention over to SmackDown, obviously we had Chelsea Green and Zelina Vega for that US title, but looking up at their main WWE Women's Championship, Bianca Belair out injured at the moment, leaving us with Tiffany, Nia, Jade Cargill, and Naomi pretty much as the four women holding down that fort at the top of the card, with Charlotte, I guess, fading away for a little while, maybe.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. It is still interesting to see that they've wrapped things back around to Nia versus Tiffany, but I don't think we ever actually got an end to that in the first place.
No, I think we
So
had the tag match with Stratus, and that was kind of
yeah,
it.
yeah. So we never got. I don't think we ever got a straight, like, legitimate one-on-one match. And so I think that's probably what we're getting that out of the way, and then we'll see where things stand after that. It's very clear that Jade has eyes for that title, so it's a question of whether or not she's the one that beats Stratton for it, or will it be maybe Naomi that beats her for it, and then maybe Jade challenges later down the line? Maybe Bianca returns and takes the title from her, and then we set up Cargill later. But
Yeah.
I still think it's still a healthy division. It's just not as stacked, obviously, as the Raws.
Yeah, and I think that is the case, right? Like when you look at them, I would say Raw, especially if they're getting those three call up, Raw's women's division is stacked, and then SmackDown's tag team division is stacked compared to each other's. I do think that the end game still has to be Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. I feel like they do still want to get that, and obviously it's never great to be injured, but maybe putting Bianca on the shelf for a short amount of time will help us get there. We can, as you say, wrap up the bow on Stratton Nia. Cargill can take out Naomi one more time, and then it goes Cargill Stratton. Maybe Cargill takes the title, and then bam, you return Belair, and you got your feud ready to go. We were already saying that Bianca needed a bit of an edge, maybe that heel turn. Set her up against Jade, send her in as the heel. Bada bing, bada boom, you got yourself a pretty big main event, in my opinion.
Yeah, it could even be SummerSlam Night 1 main event.
Yeah, easily. I always forget SummerSlam's going 2 nights as well. Well, we got a little bit of time left. I want to talk people with a death wish. We had two of them this week. We had Sami Zayn and we have Pat McAfee. Two different outcomes. One of them got their wish granted immediately, and one of them got their wish granted a couple weeks from now. As Pat McAfee is going to go one-on-one against Gunther, which, good luck, buddy. And Sami Zayn went against the Seth Rollins, Bron Breakker, Paul Heyman group, and kind of met his end on Raw.
He met a preemptive end because he's Sami Zayn. He's the underdog from the underground, right?
True.
I think it's setting up a tag. It's obviously setting up a tag match. What if? And I'm spitballing here quickly. What if Sammy turns on Roman in that match, and he actually does join the alliance, or whatever they're going to call Bron and Rollins and Paul.
I do think they're missing someone. Yeah.
That was a brutal spear by Braun on Roman. I can't wait to see how that's a future one-on-one match I want to see. I want to see them both hit a spear on each other. I want to see them hit a spear on each other at the same time and just collide. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. I kind of like what you're spitballing, right? I think they are still missing a third person. I think Sami Zayn has been floundering pretty much since he rejoined the OG Bloodline for that Survivor Series War Games match. Hasn't really had a whole lot going with him. It looked like maybe with the Kevin Owens stuff with Randy Orton, he was going to potentially turn there. And we did have a segment with Karrion Kross reminding him to do the right thing. And, you know, Karrion Kross has been right about everyone so far. So I could definitely see it. I think maybe Sammy does flip on over. And if you tell me the group is Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, and Bron Breakker, that's quite a strong group. But we will have to wait and see how it all goes. For now, we are out of time. It's been great talking to you.
Maybe.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/wrestling R&D up, our Twitter page, twitter.com/wrestling R&D up, our YouTube page, youtube.com/wrestling RND up. And we will catch you next week.